Hey everyone, and welcome! Ready to uncover the kind of wealth that doesn't come with a price tag.
I think we all are.
Today we're diving deep into Robin Sharma's The Wealth Money Can't Buy.
One of my favorite reads this year.
He ditches those typical get-rich-quick schemes and instead guides us toward a life brimming with meaning and purpose.
It's a refreshing take, isn't it?
Absolutely. We're talking about 8 unique forms of wealth, think experiences, relationships, inner growth, the stuff you just can't buy.
Sharma uses a really clever metaphor right off the bat, a house with windows of gold that, here's the catch, you can only see from far away.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's the significance of that?
Well, it highlights how easy it is for us to be fooled by appearances, chasing after things that we think will make us happy, but then nothing. We're left empty.
It's like that story he tells about the young boy so fixated on reaching that distant house with the shimmering golden windows. He's convinced it holds the key to his happiness.
Oh, yes.
But after this exhausting journey, what does he find? It's just this rundown old barn.
The ultimate letdown. It's a powerful metaphor for so many things we chase after in life, don't you think?
It really is. I can see why this resonated with you.
Absolutely, especially thinking back to mention a relevant detail from listeners' life, e.g., a time they were drawn to something for superficial reasons. Sharma's point is that true wealth comes from investing in what really matters, not chasing illusions. And to guide us, he lays out 8 essential habits. He calls them 8 forms of wealth.
Okay, 8 different paths to a richer life. I like the sound of that. So where does he suggest we begin?
With ourselves. It all starts with you. His first form of wealth is all about growth, the daily self-improvement habit. He challenges us to really tap into our potential, reminding us that to make lasting change, it has to start from within.
So true.
And one of the things he talks about that I find so interesting is how much our environment actually shapes who we are. He uses this acronym, PNEM, to represent the 5 key influences.
Okay, I'm all about a good acronym, breaks it down, makes it easy to remember, so break down PNAM for us.
All right, so we have potential, environment, nation, associations, and media.
Okay, so that's a lot to unpack. Let's start with E, environment. I'm guessing he's not just talking about our physical space.
Right, it goes way beyond that. He includes things like the neighborhoods where we grew up, the kind of information we take in every day, even the energy of the people we're around. All those little things, he argues, they subtly shape our thoughts, our beliefs, and ultimately our choices.
So let me see if I understand this. If I'm always around negativity, it's going to be that much harder to stay positive. It's like that saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
100%. And that takes us to A, associations, those people we choose to have in our lives. Their energy, how they think, even their habits, it rubs off on us, for better or worse. And it goes beyond just people, too.
Oh, so?
He brings in media. How much information do you take in on a daily basis? I mean, from social media to the news to just what we watch on TV, all of that's shaping your perceptions, what you want, how you see yourself.
It's true, you know? It's incredibly easy to get pulled into that negativity bias you see in the news or find ourselves comparing our lives to those perfectly curated feeds on Instagram. It's almost like we need to be as careful about the information we let into our heads as we are about who we hang out with.
That's it, exactly. When you surround yourself with positive, growth-oriented people, when you're intentional about the content you consume, you're basically creating this fertile ground for your own growth.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, we have N for nation. That one feels pretty self-explanatory.
Right, it's pretty straightforward. The opportunities, the challenges of the country we're born into, they definitely play a part in shaping how we see the world, the paths we take.
Right, totally. Okay, so that brings us to M in PNAM media. We kind of touched on this, but it's worth digging a bit deeper. Think about the sheer volume of information you're bombarded with each day. News, social media, entertainment. It's relentless. It all seeps into your subconscious and influences how you perceive the world.
Absolutely. It's a constant influx, and it can be totally overwhelming. That's why Sharma emphasizes being discerning with the media we choose to consume.
So it's not just about curating our social circle, it's also about curating what we allow into our minds. Makes sense. Now let's talk about the P in PNAM, because this one feels really empowering.
P for potential. This is the big one. Sharma is a firm believer that each of us, we have this inherent greatness within, just waiting to be unlocked.
It's like we're all born with these gifts, these talents, this potential, right? But it's up to us to do the work to actually cultivate those things and share them with the world.
Spot on. And he offers this great tool that we can use to tap into that potential journaling. He's a huge advocate for daily journaling. He sees it as this way to connect with ourselves, to sort through our emotions, to gain clarity on what we want and where we're going.
Journaling is something I've always wanted to be better about. He makes it seem so approachable, you know? How does he suggest we use it as a tool for self-discovery?
He breaks it down into a few areas: self-awareness, coming up with new ideas, processing emotions, and then just the simple act of recording those small magical moments that happen every day.
So we can relive them, almost as good as the first time. I love that he emphasizes celebrating those small wins and happy moments. But what about the not-so-great days? Can journaling help us navigate through tough emotions too?
Absolutely. He compares it to having a conversation with a close friend. It's that safe space where you can vent, process what you're going through, maybe even gain a fresh perspective on those challenging situations.
It's like we're hitting the pause button on our busy lives and just allowing ourselves to be present with what we're thinking and feeling without judgment. That really resonates with me, especially given briefly connect to a relevant aspect of the listener's life or goals, for example, their busy work schedule or desire for more mindfulness.
I hear that. And once you start processing those emotions through journaling, it's amazing how much lighter, how much clearer you feel.
So it's not just about dumping our emotions on the page, we're actively working through them.
Right. And here's the cool part. As we become more self-aware through this process of journaling, we naturally start coming up with new ideas, solutions to problems that maybe seemed impossible before.
It's like you step back from a problem and boom, a solution appears out of thin air. I love those moments. So journaling can help clear mental clutter, spark creativity, unlock those aha moments.
Okay, I'm starting to get why Sharma thinks this is so essential for growth.
It's about creating that dedicated space for self-reflection. You know, that inner work that often gets pushed aside in our go, go, go world. But taking the time to nurture ourselves on the inside, that's what allows us to really show up in all areas of life, according to Sharma.
Like filling your own cup first, so you've got something to give to others.
Love that analogy. But self-care, it's more than just our minds and our hearts, right? We've got to factor in our physical well-being too. And that brings us to his second form of wealth.
Right on cue.
So tell me about wellness, the steadily optimize your health habit. I'm guessing there's more to it than just eat your veggies and hit the gym, right?
You know Sharma, he likes to go a little deeper.
So spill the tea. What's his secret sauce for feeling our best?
Well, he's a huge advocate for thinking about food as medicine. And he doesn't shy away from calling out sugar. He sees it as this major culprit behind a lot of health issues. He even suggests a 30-day zero sugar challenge.
Whoa, wait, a full 30 days without sugar? Okay, that sounds intense. I can only imagine the cravings. I've got a huge sweet tooth, so that'd be a real test. Did you try it?
I did, and I'll admit, it was definitely challenging. But here's the thing that surprised me. After a couple of weeks, I just felt better. More energy, better sleep, and those cravings, they actually started to fade. I even ended up losing a few pounds without even really trying. It's funny, actually.
What's that?
My friend, she was the one who convinced me to try it, and she...
Let me guess, she had a completely different experience.
Totally opposite. She was so irritable, it was like...
Oh, no.
I know, right? And she actually ended up gaining weight.
That's so interesting how our bodies react so differently to these kinds of things.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it highlights this point that Sharma makes about bio-individuality. What works for one person won't necessarily work for another.
So it's about finding what works for you, right? Listening to your body, experimenting, maybe even working with a health professional to figure out what your body needs.
Exactly. It's about personalized wellness, not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Makes sense. So we've got the sugar detox, or maybe not, but I'm sure he has other tips for boosting well-being.
Oh, for sure. One of the big things he talks about is the mind-body connection, this idea that our mental and physical health are totally intertwined. You can't separate them.
It's so true. When we're stressed out, it can manifest in our bodies, right? And how we feel emotionally, it can definitely impact our energy levels, how motivated we are to move our bodies. So how does he suggest we nurture both our mental and physical well-being? Any go-to practices he recommends?
He does. And you might be surprised by a few of them. He's big on cold showers.
Wait, hold up, cold showers. Okay, I'll admit, that one's a little hard to get behind, even for me.
I know, right? It's a bit brutal, but yeah. He talks about how cold showers can actually get your circulation going, increase your alertness, even boost your immune system.
Okay, so I've heard all that, right? It's that initial shock of the cold water hitting my skin. I haven't quite mastered pushing past it.
Totally get it.
Yeah.
Maybe you'd be more into his other suggestion, laughter therapy. Remember that story he tells about that doctor super skeptical, but then has this total change of heart after experiencing how powerful laughter can be.
Okay, now that's something I can get on board with. The more laughter in life, the better, that's what I say. But laughter therapy, what does that even look like?
Well, it can be a lot of things. You could join a laughter yoga class, you could watch a funny movie, or even just spend time with people who really crack you up.
So it's about being intentional about bringing more joy and laughter into our lives, right? I'm there, I'm always up for a good laugh. What about you? Any go-tos for you when it comes to feeling good in mind and body?
I'll be honest, I've become a bit of a convert to the cold showers.
No way, you actually do it. You're braver than you look.
I'm working on it, let's just say that. But to answer your question, spending time in nature is huge for me. Even just a short walk in the park, it can totally shift my mood, my energy.
It's like hitting the reset button on our nervous systems. There's something about being in nature that reminds us we're a part of something much bigger than ourselves.
100%. And when we feel more grounded, more connected, we're so much better equipped to handle whatever life throws our way. And that, I think, brings us to another crucial piece of a well-rounded life, our relationships, which, not surprisingly, is the heart of Sharma's third form of wealth, family, the happy family, happy life habit.
Relationships, that's huge. I know how important family is to you. What were some of your big takeaways from this section?
It really is all about connection, isn't it? Whether it's family, friends, those we work with, it enriches our lives in ways we can't always even measure. And speaking of enriching our lives, that brings us to Sharma's seventh form of wealth adventure, the live fully and explore bravely habit. It's such a great way to frame it. It's about really embracing new experiences, pushing past those comfort zones, and approaching life with a real sense of curiosity.
I love that. It's about questioning those traditional ideas about productivity and making time for the things that bring us joy, even if they don't fit neatly into our super scheduled to-do list lives.
He really wants us to see our lives as this grand adventure, to be explored with curiosity, courage, that willingness to step into the unknown.
He talks about how important it is to challenge those conventional notions of productivity, right? Making space for those passions, exploring new things, maybe even just taking a different route to work one day to mix things up. It's about shaking things up. He argues that incorporating adventure, whether it's travel, new hobbies, or just trying something you've never tried before, it can actually reignite those passions, boost creativity, and even make us more productive in other areas of our lives.
It's finding that balance between striving for our goals and actually enjoying the journey as we're on it.
So important. It's not just about the destination. It's about the experiences we gather along the way.
Exactly. He even suggests something he calls creating an anti-hero scenario.
Okay, tell me more about that.
It's about visualizing what would happen if we don't go after our dreams. What are the consequences of not taking that chance?
It's like that saying, the only thing worse than failing is not trying at all. It's realizing that life's too short to let fear hold us back from the experiences, the opportunities, the things that truly light us up.
Right. It's asking ourselves, what if I don't at least try? What do I have to lose?
And then on the other side of that, asking, what amazing things could happen if I do go for it?
I love that. And sometimes stepping into our full potential, sharing our unique gifts with the world, that's the greatest act of service we can do for ourselves and for others. And that actually leads us perfectly into Sharma's eighth and final form of wealth, service. The life is short, so be very helpful habit.
Okay, so we're ending our deep dive on this note of service. This one feels big, like maybe this is the key to unlocking that true lasting wealth he talks about. What do you think?
I think it's a powerful way to wrap up this exploration, because Sharma's arguing that true wealth, it's not about all the stuff we accumulate. It's not about chasing after external validation. It's about something much deeper.
It's about realizing that we're all part of this intricate web of life, and our lives have more meaning, more purpose when we're contributing to something bigger than ourselves.
Yes, exactly that.
So less about what's in it for me and more about what can I offer.
Right. He encourages us to find something, a cause that speaks to us, something we're passionate about, and then give, whether it's our time, our energy, our resources to support that.
And we don't have to become millionaires to make a difference, right? It's about those small, everyday acts of service.
100%. He calls them 3 anonymous acts of goodness and challenges us to do them every single day.
I love that. Like what kinds of things?
It could be something as simple as leaving a kind note for someone, maybe helping an elderly neighbor with their groceries, or donating to a food bank. It doesn't have to be huge, splashy gestures.
I love that. It reminds me of that quote, Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. You never really know what someone else is going through, so even the smallest gesture of kindness can have a ripple effect.
Exactly. And here's the other thing. Sharma emphasizes that it's not about doing good deeds to get recognition or praise. It's about the joy and fulfillment that naturally arise from simply making a positive impact on the world.
It's funny, it's like the less we focus on what we're getting out of it, the more fulfilling it becomes.
That intrinsic motivation.
Yeah.
Doing good because it feels good.
Exactly. And it reminds us that we all have unique talents, gifts, things that we can offer to the world. He talks about this idea of leading without a title, right? That you don't have to have a fancy title or a position of power to make a difference.
I love that concept. He's saying that leadership, it's not a job title. It's a choice we make. It's about showing up, acting with integrity, being compassionate, being of service, no matter what our circumstances.
So it's about being that change we want to see in the world.
Exactly. Leading by example. He even suggests adopting the motto, kindness always.
Kindness always. I love that.
Make it a guiding principle in everything you do.
Okay, so we've talked about kindness, but he also emphasizes the importance of gratitude, forgiveness, and living in the present moment. How do those practices connect to this idea of service?
Well, he believes that cultivating inner peace, finding that happiness within ourselves, it's essential for being of service to others. Because when we're feeling grateful, when we're practicing forgiveness, when we're present in this moment, we're so much more equipped to show up for others with open hearts and that spirit of generosity.
It's like that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. We have to take care of ourselves first if we want to give to others.
Exactly. And one way he suggests we create space for that inner peace is through what he calls a possessions purge.
Ah, yes, the decluttering challenge. I'll admit, this is always the toughest one for me.
I hear you. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
But he brings up a really valid point. Material possessions, sure, they can be fun, but they can also weigh us down, you know? And sometimes they can actually prevent us from experiencing true freedom and fulfillment.
It's about letting go of what no longer serves us to make room for what truly matters. Our relationships, our passions, our purpose.
Exactly. When we simplify our lives, when we loosen that grip on material things, we discover that we have more time, more energy, even more resources to dedicate to what really lights us up. And that includes being of service to others.
He also talks about the importance of confronting our fears, of living with more courage. He talks about this idea of creating an anti-hero scenario to visualize what could happen if we don't pursue those dreams, those things that make us come alive.
It's a powerful exercise, forcing us to look at the potential cost of inaction, asking ourselves, what do I stand to lose if I don't at least try? What if this is my one shot?
And then flipping the script, asking, what amazing things could unfold if I do take that leap of faith?
Right.
He also encourages us to reflect on our own mortality, not in a morbid way, but more as a way to motivate us to live more fully right now.
Exactly. He asks us to imagine it's our Last Supper.
Wow. Okay, that's a powerful image.
It is. It makes you think, how would I live differently if I knew my time was limited? Would I still stress about those little things? Would I prioritize things differently? How would I spend my precious time and energy?
Such important questions to ask ourselves.
They really are. They can be real wake-up calls, challenging us to take stock of what really matters.
He also encourages us to embrace what makes us unique, to think like an artist in all areas of our lives, right?
Absolutely. He truly believes that we're all creative beings. And expressing that creativity, whether it's through work, relationships, or our acts of service, it's essential to living a truly fulfilling life.
It's about bringing all that we are to the table, our unique perspectives, our talents, our passions, and using them to make a difference.
Exactly. And when we approach life with that sense of creativity and wonder, that's when we find the joy in the journey. And that's when we make the biggest impact.
Wow, this has been such a rich conversation. So many insights, so many practical tips.
I agree.
Robin Sharma's The Wealth Money Can't Buy. It's a powerful reminder that true wealth, it's not about what's in our bank accounts. It's about the relationships we cultivate, the impact we have on the world.
And the best part is, we have the power to start creating that wealth today. It doesn't require grand gestures. We can start small, one step at a time.
So true. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's one small step our listeners can take today to cultivate more of this kind of wealth in their own lives?
Oh, that's a great question. It could be as simple as reaching out to someone you care about, taking a few minutes to appreciate all the good in your life, Or maybe finally blocking out some time to reconnect with your own dreams, your own aspirations.
It all starts with that first step.
Exactly.
Well, this has been fantastic. So many practical takeaways from Robin Sharma's book. The Wealth Money Can't Buy is definitely worth a read.
I agree.
Until next time, keep exploring.